Okay, so the last thing that we have to do when making our PDFs accessible is to check the reading order. Checking the reading order is one of the easier things to do, but it is also one of the least cut and dry things. It will require you to use some of your own critical thinking skills in order to determine where things should be placed. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So in our touch-up reading order, we want to change from structure types to page content order, and then you'll notice that that changes over here these items to numbers. And all we're going to do is go ahead and visually inspect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 makes sense. Then we're going to come to the next column, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. This 17 is an image. It doesn't really make sense to have an image in between the two columns, because what we're doing here is we are talking about, or we're listing out the folks who have worked on this document. We're handing out the acknowledgments and credits, so we don't really need an image to show up smack dab in the middle of that. So we're going to change where we have that image. And our options are, we could either put it first or we could put it last. Since we really want the heading to come first, it doesn't make sense to put it there. I think in this case it makes sense to move the image to last. To do that, we're going to, in our touch-up reading order panel, we're going to hit Show Order Panel, and then make sure we're on page 18. Then we want to come down and find number 17, which is our image. We're going to drag and drop it to where we want it, and we want it to be the last thing. So we're going to drag and drop it to the last thing and go ahead and let go. Then we look again, 13 to 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Page 18 looks good. We're going to go ahead and hit Save because I will warn you that there is no undo in this. So be careful to make sure that you are saving frequently. When we get to 19, heading first, image second, looks good. Go down to page 20. We've got our heading, text, text, text. Then down here we've got a sidebar information and then more text before we get to our next heading. So we again have a decision to make. Does it make sense to leave that sidebar information there? Let's go ahead and the only way we can make that determination is to look at the document. And here we're talking about the Constitution. Then we have a little sidebar that gives us more information about what is a Constitution fundamentally, and then we go on to talk about Ohio's first Constitution. So I think in this case it's fine if we want to go ahead and leave the sidebar there. So we've got our paragraph text at 4. This again is paragraph text. Our sidebar 5, we're going to leave it. 6, and then 7 we get to our next heading. 8 is our subheading. 9, and then 10 here again is more sidebar text. But this time the sidebar text is breaking up the paragraph. So if I come over here and I remove the, I uncheck the show page content groups, we can see on July 13th is the start of a sentence, and then 1787 is the continuation of that sentence. We don't want this sidebar text to come in the middle. That wouldn't make any sense for the student, so we need to move it. Our choices are, do we want to move it first? Do we want to move it last? We do have a period at the end here. So if we moved it last, we wouldn't be breaking up the we wouldn't be breaking up a paragraph. But I think in this case, I'm going to go ahead and move it first. So I'm going to show my page order again. I know that what I want to move is number 10. So over here on page 20, I'm going to find number 10. I'm going to click on it and drag it where I want. And I want to move it up to position number 9. Oh, no, wait. I've changed my mind. I've got 6, 7. I think now this is reading as 8. We really want it to come after this subheading. That's not a problem. Just pick it up and move it again. Like I said before, there's not an undo, but you can pick it up and move it again, not a problem. So now we read 7, 8, 9 our sidebar, 10 the start of our paragraph, 11 the continuation of our paragraph. Then we go ahead and we hit save, and then we look at page 20, or page 21. Again, we've got a heading, we've got text, we've got a sidebar text again, and that sidebar text again is breaking up a paragraph. We look over here, necessary to be admitted to the union as a state. We don't want this text to come in the middle, so where do we want to move it? Again, I'm thinking I'm going to move it to the beginning of this. So I'm going to take number 3 in my list, and I'm going to move it up to directly under the heading. So now I get 1 heading, 2 sidebar, 3 text, 4 text, 5 text, 6 text, 7, 8. 7 again is a sidebar. So we have to make a decision. Do we want to leave it here or do we want to move it? It's not breaking up a paragraph. 5 and 6 are a paragraph by themselves. 8 is a paragraph by itself. But 9 starts a new heading. So since it's so close to the end of the content area before we get a new heading, I think I'm going to move it to the end right before 9. So it'll be the last piece you get under this subheading, and then you'll get a new subheading. So let's go ahead and click 7 and move it underneath 8. So now we get 6, 7, we get our sidebar text 8, and then we go into 9, the new heading. I would like to look at one more document when we're working with touch-up reading order. One more example. Again, in accessibility, touch-up reading order, pull up the panel. We want to switch from structure types to page content order, and then we're just going to go and take a look. So 1, 2, 3 makes good sense. We're good there. That one page is easy. There's only one thing on it. We've got heading, paragraph, so we're good. And then this one we've got text, paragraph. So we want to take a look and see where, or we've got image, paragraph. We want to see where we should put this image. If we remove our tags, I can see that this paragraph actually doesn't start it starts mid-sentence. So if I go up a page, I can see fruit from the orchards. So we want to try not to break that up. So we're going to take this image and we're going to move it between the two paragraphs so that we're not breaking up that sentence. So we're going to open up our show order panel. We're going to come down to page 4, and we want to move our image to position 2. Now it'll go from reading this start of the sentence to the rest of the sentence, then the image, then the next paragraph. Then we go down to page 5. 1, 2, 3, 5 looks good. Page 6, 1, 2, 3, 6 looks good. Next page, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're still doing good. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, but again we've got an image. So let's take a look and see. If we don't have enough space, we can always close this to make it larger. We know standard of living between blacks, that's not a complete sentence. So let's look up a page. The sentence actually starts on the previous page. So again, we want to move this image so that we are not breaking up the sentence. So we're going to take that image from 1 and move it to spot 2. So they'll get the start of the sentence, the rest of the sentence with 1, then the image, then 3, 4. Go down to page 11. 11, again, we've got an image and text. Let's go ahead and take a look and see where we want to place this image in the order. So this one starts with, or does not start with the full sentence. The sentence starts here. There's 2 lines of a paragraph, the rest of the paragraph, and then, but if we get to the end, this isn't the full sentence either. That sentence actually finishes over on page 12. So here we've got a couple different options. We can try to find a way to break up this paragraph and put the image in there. Ideally, that would be the best thing to do. Sometimes you don't have an option and the best thing isn't available, because in order to break up this paragraph, we need a sentence that ends at the end of a line. We can't do odd-shaped boxes. We can only do straight boxes. So I happen to know that right here, at the end of the word communist, there's a period. So I can take that, claim it text, and separate these into 2 paragraphs. Then in my show order panel, I'm going to do what I did before and just move it down to spot 2 so that we don't break up the sentence going from page 10 to page 11. Then they get the image, then they get the rest of the text, and we don't break up this sentence going from page 11 to page 12. Now, if there wasn't that option and you couldn't break up this paragraph, then you have to make do with what you can. Try to make your best guess. Over here, this is 2 lines, and on here this is 3 lines. So I'd probably move it first, just so that I was making the least amount of disruption possible. And that's kind of the thing to remember when we're dealing with touch-up reading order. Like I'd said earlier, it is one of the easiest things to do, but it is the least cut and dry. It actually requires you to make lots of decisions about where to place things and how the content should fall.